It is 11:20 p.m. on a Saturday night. The agreed-upon curfew was 11 p.m. You are pacing the living room floor, staring at the glowing numbers on the microwave clock, and feeling your chest tighten with every minute that passes. For the first 10 minutes, you were paralyzed by genuine fear. You imagined car accidents, terrible mistakes, and worst-case scenarios. But as the clock ticks closer to midnight, that deep fear rapidly transforms into boiling, absolute anger. Finally, you hear the lock click. The front door swings open and your teenager walks in. They aren't running, they aren't panicked, and they aren't even out of breath. They just stroll in, see you standing there with your arms crossed, and immediately roll their eyes. Before you can even start yelling about the time, they drop their keys on the table and say, "Relax. It is literally not a big deal. I am only 20 minutes late. You treat me like a prisoner." It is an incredibly infuriating moment. You stand there thinking, "I have been awake sick with worry, and you do not even care enough to look at a clock. Why are you blatantly disrespecting the rules of this house? And why does my anxiety mean absolutely nothing to you?" It feels like walking through a minefield where you can't see the tripwires. You want so badly to pull them out of the mud, but every hand you reach out just seems to push them further in. When we watch our teenagers casually stroll in past curfew with an attitude of complete indifference, we usually make a massive psychological misinterpretation. We look at that late arrival and we label it as active rebellion, blatant disrespect for our authority, or a sign that they are becoming entirely selfish. We think that they are staying out late just to push our buttons. We worry that if we let 20 minutes slide today, they will be staying out until 2 a.m. by next month. This interpretation drives us to clamp down with an iron fist. We ground them for a month. We scream about irresponsibility, or we threaten to take away their car keys forever. We treat the missed curfew as an intentional insult to our parenting. We assume that if we push harder, we can force compliance. Your teenager isn't trying to insult you, and they aren't plotting a rebellion. To understand why they stay out past the deadline, we have to look at the powerful combination of social survival and an undeveloped prefrontal cortex. When a teenager is with their friends, the concept of leaving the group early triggers an intense biological fear of missing out. To their brain, stepping away from the tribe while everyone else is still having fun feels like social suicide. Combine that with the fact that the teenage brain is notoriously bad at tracking time, and you have a recipe for chronic lateness. They aren't ignoring the clock to hurt you. They just genuinely lost track of reality because their brain prioritized social connection over logistics. Think about what happens when you tell a kid they're being irresponsible. To their brain, that doesn't sound like a lesson. It sounds like a confirmation that you don't trust them. It confirms that no matter how hard they try to have fun, you're just waiting for them to fail, so you can say, "I told you so." When we treat their lateness as a moral failing, we make them feel like criminals in their own home. They realize they can't win, so they stop trying to communicate and start trying to hide. To stop the curfew wars, we have to change the way we structure the boundary itself. When you give a teenager a rigid, inflexible order like, "Be home at 11 p.m. on the dot," or "You are grounded," you are building a brick wall. The adolescent brain naturally wants to push against walls to test their strength. It is a biological imperative for them to seek autonomy. To them, the clock on the wall is an abstract concept. The vibe of the party is the only reality that matters. If they accidentally stay out until 11:05 p.m., they know they have already broken the rigid rule. Because they know they are going to get screamed at anyway, their brain calculates that there is no point in rushing home. They figure they might as well stay out until 11:30 p.m. since the punishment will be exactly the same. To fix this, we have to replace the rigid wall with a flexible window. We have to create a system where they are rewarded for adult communication rather than punished for being 5 minutes behind schedule. It's a matter of collaborative planning, not rigid control. This brings us directly to our core intervention, which relies on a precise 3-step protocol that you must introduce during a calm, quiet afternoon. Never try to establish these rules while they are walking through the door late at night. Let the emotion exist in the room without jumping to fix it. First, create a window, not a wall. Instead of setting a hard deadline of 11 p.m., you create a 15-minute buffer zone. You sit down with them and change the narrative entirely. Your curfew is 11 p.m., but I understand that traffic happens. Goodbyes take a long time, and you don't want to be the one sprinting out the door in a panic. So, we are upgrading you to an arrival window. Your window to walk through the front door is anywhere between 10:45 p.m. and 11:15 p.m. As long as you are inside the house before 11:15 p.m., you are completely safe, and there are no questions asked. This small buffer removes the anxiety of rushing, reduces the risk of dangerous speeding on the way home, and gives them the autonomy they desperately crave. Second, build proactive communication. The second step is where you build genuine accountability. You establish the rule of proactive texting. The rule states that if they realize they are going to miss the 11:15 p.m. window, they must send a text message before 11 p.m. You look at them and explain it clearly. If you communicate before you are late, we are having a conversation. If you do not communicate and just show up late, you are choosing a consequence. A simple text at 10:45 saying you are stuck at the diner buys you grace. Silence buys you an earlier curfew. This trains them in adult communication. It teaches them that respect is shown through keeping people updated, which completely soothes your parental anxiety. By giving them total autonomy to communicate, you remove the threat. You show them that you respect their time. And, it basically removes the need for them to defend their choices. Finally, set preset consequences. The final piece of the strategy completely removes your anger from the equation. You must agree on the exact result of a missed, uncommunicated curfew right now, while everyone is calm. You negotiate this together. You say, if you ignore the window and you fail to text me, what do you think is a fair consequence for next weekend? Guide them to agree that a missed curfew automatically means a 9 p.m. curfew for the following Friday. When they inevitably mess up and walk in at 11:30 p.m. without texting, you do not have to yell. You do not have to pace the floor or act furious. You just look at them calmly. Tell them you are glad they are safe, and say, "We will talk about the 9 p.m. curfew tomorrow. Go get some sleep." The consequence does all the heavy lifting for you. Why does this linguistic shift completely change their behavior? It comes down to the neurobiology of hypervigilance. When a teenager feels like their independence is constantly under threat of being invaded, the emotional center of their brain stays in a low-grade state of fight or flight. They look at the clock as it approaches curfew. and their brain automatically anticipates a confrontation or an evaluation. They brace themselves for a lecture, which is why their voice sounds so incredibly sharp and defensive the moment they walk in late. And honestly, it just makes them shut down completely, because your well-meaning solution feels like a sign that they are failing to meet your standards. You cannot lecture a brain that is focused on social survival. You have to lower the stakes so their logic can come back online. But when you consistently change how you approach that boundary, you systematically reset that threat response. You teach their nervous system a completely new pattern. They learn that when curfew approaches, it doesn't mean an interrogation is happening. It means an agreement is being tested. A funny story can be shared, or a genuine low-pressure system is in place. Once their brain realizes that coming home does not threaten the safety of their autonomy, the baseline defensive armor drops. The defensive eye rolls disappear, and honestly, it completely breaks their need to hide their whereabouts. They start keeping you updated because they no longer feel the biological necessity to defend the border. They stop seeing coming home as a performance and start seeing it as a process where responsibility is allowed. To make this strategy fully stick, you have to master what happens the moment they actually take the bait and walk through the door within the window, or text you ahead of time. You must meet them at the door with absolute social humility. You are welcoming an adult in training into the space, and you must act like one. Do not look at them and immediately start scanning their clothes or questioning where they went. Do not comment on their messy hair, who they were with, or start drilling them about the exact minutes. The second you call out an accusation during a moment of connection, you completely destroy the trust. You prove to their subconscious mind that your window was just a trick to get them home and criticize them. When they cross that threshold, your eyes must lock entirely on welcoming them back. Put your own phone away. Ask curious, open-ended questions about their night if they are chatty, without shifting the conversation back to your own life or your own expectations. If you let them enter the house without launching an interrogation, you build a brick of trust. And that silence is exactly what buys you your pass back into their world. It requires immense self-control to look at them walking in late and say nothing, but that silence is exactly what keeps the invitation open. It requires incredible emotional maturity to watch your child navigate the real world and choose to celebrate their communication, rather than feel threatened by their tardiness. It requires you to set your own ego aside and trust the painful, beautiful design of human growth. Your teenager testing their limits is not a failure of your parenting. It is actually a massive proof of your success. It means you have built a foundation of love so secure and so stable that they feel entirely safe to turn around, face the outside world, and take the big risks required to grow up. If they were terrified of losing you, they would never dare to test the boundaries. They might complain on the surface about family rules, but underneath, their nervous system relaxes because someone has finally taken the wheel and held the line. They do not need you to be another 15-year-old friend. They have plenty of those. They need you to be the parent. They need you to be the calm, unshakable rock that stays exactly where it is, no matter how hard the teenage storms blow. Drop a comment below if you've been pacing the floor at midnight, getting that defensive eye roll every time your kid walks in late. Let me know what low-stakes agreement you're going to try out tonight to break that cycle. whether it's a 15-minute buffer window or a proactive text rule. Let's talk about how to realign that curfew strategy in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more breakdowns on teen behavior and practical boundaries. In the next video, we're pivoting to something else. What happens when you master the curfew, you set up the communication protocol, and you get the respect you deserve at midnight, only to face a completely different wall the next morning? What do you do when you ask your teenager a simple question about what they ate for lunch, what homework they have, or who they sat with at school, and you realize they are completely fabricating the answer? Why would a highly intelligent, good kid constantly lie about things that do not even matter? We're going to break down the hidden psychological reasons why teenagers manufacture harmless lies, why our traditional reactions accidentally reward them for hiding the truth, and the one crucial response that will make them feel completely safe to tell you the truth every single time. I'll see you there.